The movie experience for me was the best time of my life.
Learned more making the movie probably than I learned from anything else.
This was not a film done in a brief amount of time.
We spent a lot of time and work on it, and it ended up being pretty decent considering this low budget we had making this movie on a dime.
I don't even remember how many years. It's probably like 4, well, not even, it's gotta be like 5 years if we include all the editing.
I learned a lot. I learned about what the process of making movies is like.
It was sort of like a hobby that you spend money on and you don't always get back from it.
I made friends that I hope will be lifelong, and you can never take that away.
The entire plot of our movie revolves around these 4 magical and powerful spheres, which is where the word Spherenths comes from. I played the part of Hammond, one of 3 Gavin brothers, and they possessed the gold Spherenth. And throughout the movie, they tried to keep it away from the bad guys, the Groms.
It gives the user the ability to see things that are hidden and to hear things others cannot.
What word do you bring in the Spherenth? Did you find it?
It is as you said, Batal. The 3 Gavins do have it.
Do not give them the Spherenth. Do not let them have it. With the golden Spherenth, they will find the others and dominate Castris.
The goal in the whole movie is to keep the Spherenths from Batal's hands, mainly because he wants to do harm with them. He wants to rule the world, basically the world of Castris.
Give me the Spherenth. This is a Spherenth that gives wisdom in speech. It is an important tool as we seek the allegiance of the Groms and the aid of Balgon, as well as for leading our own kingdom when that time comes.
So now they have 3.
The clear Spherenth is a shield, a protection no steel or stone blade can penetrate, an invisible shell covering the body of its bearer.
The only thing that Hammond has is the knife that can penetrate Batal.
Isn't that fine? We don't know where to go. We don't know where we are. We're lost. We'll never find your cursed Spherenth.
I will not give you this.
In the end, he has the biggest challenge fighting Batal, who has all 4 of the Spherenths.
Castris is mine.
I will fight for freedom, so I can fight no more.
It was my brother Joe's idea. He bought a camera and he was always into trying to do plays and stuff.
Joe was definitely the director because he came up with the original story, which, though heavily modified, was Joe's story. And it was Joe's vision to make a movie.
He was the one that came up with it all. He's the one that bought the camcorder. He's the one that said, guys, I want to do this.
And I wrote a simple story back when I was probably in 9th grade, I think. At first, we didn't think the movie was going to be anything, you know, just something to do to pass the time.
Basically, we had a story and we tried to do it just basically off of the story, making up our lines at the very beginning, sort of, as we go.
This is Harry and Edgar is head up on the hill.
The quality was not there. We had no script that we acted by other than just a general idea of how a scene was gonna play out.
Shooting, a whole scene from one camera angle
when we first started shooting, and it was just really crappy without a script and stuff.
So we just had like a topic, and then we talked about a certain topic.
Stay for breakfast if you'd like. John, you can make it.
For that first stuff, I was Joe, John was John, and Matthew was Matthew, and so we didn't even have names for us. It was bad. By the next fall, we decided that all that footage and stuff was crap.
We just tossed out a lot of footage that first year and went back and rewrote a lot of stuff.
Everybody agreed that we should, none of us wanted to show that in front of a bunch of people.
Eventually it grew to be this big movie, and I wasn't really expecting that.
We came up with a way better story between all of us, gave ourselves lines and stuff, and then we started using different camera angles.
Made a whole script eventually.
It was a combined effort from a lot of people.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking about the story for a while, just trying to get everything right. And it was a really work in progress for a long time.
As we were improving on it and adding to it and changing it, we would meet at different people's houses and just talk for like a whole day on it and discuss changes and how it should be.
We'd always go over the story when we changed it or anything as a group.
So we sat down and spent about 4 months when we started doing the new movie, as I call it, and we just rifled through all different ideas. What should this race be like? And during that time, the King of Borion was born, the 4th Spherenth was born, the Crystal Blade was born, the Chalhook got their name. The Chalhook became their own race.
We had, discussed a lot about how they should be, and we figured out they should be kind of a woodsy, kind of Indian-ish people.
I kind of picked me and my 2 brothers to be 3 brothers in the movie. I guess it worked out good, and we were kind of the good guys, I guess.
All these different ideas were put together.
I think we all contributed to the plot of the story in different lines, and a lot of stuff was edited on the scene. We'd change lines and things and insert lines.
We talked about it many nights, all of us, all 7 of us. Sometimes we'd have extras thrown in, giving us ideas on nights after we'd have a battle, and we were all charged up, coming up with new ideas.
Ben and Matthew, we always tried, they weren't so enthused about talking about it because I always got bored.
We basically had to sit there and listen. We didn't really have as many ideas as other people. I guess we were pretty young then.
At times we would both not like it and actually want to quit at times. But then, they would get us back into it.
So it was a constantly changing script.
The idea that we could do anything we wanted to and we could make our own world.
The aged Borion said the ruins would be around here.
That's roughly 60 miles west of Roadmeat. Kind of like taking the Legos I'd played with for so long and becoming one of the Lego men as the main character.
The creativeness of it, making a story, coming up with the land, we made our own map, and all the people and stuff are our own things, the whole story. It's just fun to talk with Mike and Rick and Ben and Ryan and, my brothers and come up with the story and see it develop and get better.
From age 0, I've loved everything of the past, medieval times in particular, and I knew the movie had potential. I knew it had just unlimited potential. As much as we wanted to put into it, we could get out of it. I loved entering the world of Spherenths of Borion. It was incredible to be able to get out of the mundane reality that we live in today of cars and subdivisions driving down the road, and to enter, a certain reality of wildness and, uncharted territories.
It felt pretty real, and watching it afterwards, it was pretty mind-blowing what we accomplished.
Being able to hang out with everybody, that was pretty cool. Cause we spent a lot of times when we get together, just be for the movie during some summers.
Yeah, we joke around, goof off, but we'd also get what we needed done.
We had a lot of good times.
A lot of the credit would go to someone we haven't mentioned yet, Rich Gehan.
He'd screw up a line and,
They have destroyed two of my cities.
we'd all start roaring.
They will not stop until the Spherenths is theirs. That is all they want. That is all they care about.
Even if we were out there in 5 degrees below zero, wearing armor and freezing our butts off. Remember one time he tried to say a line while he was gurgling fake blood, and
Protect.
it was hilarious. He said it wrong.
And he was constantly making faces and doing gyrations and just really weird stuff no one would imagine. So it was hard to keep a straight face sometimes. He laughed a lot when he was on set. He was a good addition, and in order to have the film take off, he really left a good taste in a lot of our mouths, with his humor.
I have blurred vision.
You do?
Well, yeah. I have saran wrap over my face.
This is insanity.
Okay.
This is what happens when we ate too much sugar. One minute you could be making a joke, and goofing off, and the next minute, you'd have a straight face and you'd be doing your line.
Wait, quiet. Wait. That was the silent one. There's Rick.
Okay.
The sword and the torch that's going out. Bitch. Okay, Ryan's ready. 3, 2, 1, action.
I tell you what is true, wise king. I'm here to claim my destiny.
But it was good. It was good to have that whole section of the film, that whole aspect of it where we were just having fun.
Let's see. For this scene, I don't know what we're going to do, guys. Get up.
The thing I enjoyed most about making the movie would be the actual filming of it and going out there in my costume and being my character Malum, acting my part out, trying to do my best. For the shooting, we only had one small camera, and it was mostly outdoors, so we didn't have to use lights much. And then we started using different camera angles. Every time somebody said a line or something, we used a camera angle for them, then we cut to a camera angle for the other person rather than having one angle for the whole scene.
We took turns as cameraman. I'd be in my Howard costume, and it would come to a Salkton shot, or if it was with the good guys and the bad guys, I'd be filming one of the fight scenes between Joe and Rick. And so we'd be able to do that, and that was really exciting because then instead of just being an actor, you were also filming.
In the summers, we were really filming, I don't know, usually at least some of us were involved with filming at least once or twice a week.
I would often go to film shootings, even if I was not acting in them, to give ideas and support and help lug gear and stuff.
I played Ambin. He was a woodsman or a chahuk. It was quite a bit different than I am. I'm not used to being so serious. That was really hard for me.
They have already taken the clear spirit. They must now be journeying to
I got a little bit better at it, I think, but it still was hard.
My character was called Bat Tao, and he was kind of the evil leader of the Groms.
When we get to Bokan, the Groms there will surely help us.
It's an interesting role to play, and I've been told that I'm not evil enough for the character.
Put down your weapons, and I will release your brother.
everybody's telling me, be deeper, say it deeper, and sort of growl, and then everybody's like giving all these examples, and they're pretty soon the entire group just start growling and yelling there, and it's like, okay.
Forming a grand kingdom ruled by us, subduing all the land.
Howard is. He was very easy for me to become. I could take on the character very naturally because Howard was very much like myself at the time, would still be like myself now, in that he was torn between different roads that he could take. He had a lot of interior conflict.
A big challenge I've had was acting. I'm not that great of an actor, so there'd be a simple line and I'd end up doing it over like 50 times because the director would always want it, good, and I would too.
Oh, I'd say it was pretty easy. I figured the character was pretty well engineered around me because my brother knew how I was and the other guys knew how I was, essentially. So they fit me into a character, I think, that was a lot like I am.
In the movie, throughout the movie, my character liked to complain a lot. Like in the caves, he would be complaining about the aches that he had.
My feet are badly hurting, and my legs feel like lead, as it were.
Must you always complain?
Well, they are. You're just lucky I don't tell you about the rest of my aches.
I think when Joe wrote the movie, he kind of wrote our characters very similar to as they were in real life.
We all ended up getting better at acting and just better at using the cameras and everything.
Some summers we'd have like 5 different big events or stuff. People coming out to either Michael's house or the neighbor's house, and we'd have big battles orchestrated and stuff. Get all that footage.
When we would have to do battles, which we had, like we'd have to get as many people as we possibly could, friends and people from church and people I knew 10 years ago or something, just anybody you could think of.
As the film progressed, we really tried our best to give the audience intense fight scenes. We'd spend hours, doing the moves, practicing them until we had them as perfect as we could. So then day of, we would be ready to do that particular fight scene.
And some people really get too much into their roles and they just start swinging like they're actually fighting a battle.
When we made the movie, we had a lot of different places where we shot it at.
Whenever we found a location, there'd always be, telephone lines, roads. Be hard to not get that in the shot, which sometimes we got bad things in the shot, but we tried avoiding it as much as possible.
We go to parks and Door County. That was definitely the coolest location with the cliffs and the caves and stuff.
We had to go into tiny little caves and make it look like a whole big series of caves.
All the sets that we made were built either in our garage, our silo, or our barn foundation.
Another really cool set we made is the hidden Chalhook hut, which we made in the middle of a woods.
Don't you want to take your armor off?
No, I always keep it on. These 2 helmets right here are the Grommonite Guard helmets for the ending scene in our film. Both of them are complete with a series of lanes interlocking on the back with a beautiful fan-shaped design. They're heavily influenced by Greek designs.
John Neighbors and my brother and Michael Getz made probably the majority, over 50% of the costumes and stuff. I liked making the chainmail and helmets and then seeing it finished and forever on camera.
The armor was really John and my contribution to the movie, and it was a big one. It was major because it's a fantasy medieval genre film, so that's a huge part of it.
We just took pieces of metal, bent them into shape, and riveted them together, and we ended up with some great helmets.
All of the stuff I made was my design. I drew it and took it all the way into the finished product. Every one of my pieces of armor was dear to me to create.
There was a lot of time. You know, I'd come home after long days of work, and I'd be working on arrows, spray painting arrows, cutting out fletchings, designing tips, cutting out tips.
John and I both made chainmail from raw wire into full suits, link by link. Each helmet took, for me, probably 50 to 100 hours. Chainmail, definitely. A suit would take hundreds of hours. So it was a very grueling task to turn these things out in time for a scene, but it was always rewarding.
The editing, we've had some challenges with the editing.
And audio, we had to completely record audio in post-production, almost completely, because the audio was so bad on the original tape.
So we have to redub the sounds. It's really hard to dub your own voice, make it exactly right over the video. Matthew did a big part of the sound.
So it's really hard sometimes to get the right sound effects for the right thing, making it sound real.
It's time consuming and very frustrating sometimes.
Recreating pretty much the entire sound for the movie.
The music, I did most of that. Some of the themes were written by, composed by Michael. And him and Rick were originally going to do some of the music, but they just kind of didn't have the time. So I tried to come up with what I could on this little keyboard and a computer. This is how I usually come up with my music that's in the movie, and it's just by playing around. And it's not even in the movie, but I don't know, have fun playing with it.
I learned a lot through making this movie. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was very, very good experience.
I think there was so much depth to it. Over the course of those 4 years, we added so much detail to our world that it became ever more, concrete.
I'm still learning a lot now that I'm in the TV. It's going to MATC for TV, but now I look back at the movie and see how bad we did on lighting.
If I had the choice, I'd probably change a lot of how we did it, make a lot less mistakes, but yeah, I think it was worth it.
For myself, I learned some incredibly valuable life lessons. I learned how to look at a deadline and say, I'm going to get this done, and get it done. I learned how to say, this means so much to me that I will give anything I can possibly give to make it happen.
And then just to see the finished work and putting it all together, it's rewarding to see our product after all the work we went through.
In terms of time, it was an immense investment.
Yeah, it was a lot of time and work that went into it.
But it was a good investment.
I don't know if we'd make back the money we put into it. I think if we got it anywhere, we'd easily make it back, because if we could sell it or something, because we didn't put all that much into it. I mean, for us it was a lot, but considering most movies, we put nothing into it.
I believe this to be a very good entry-level movie, but if someone hopes to compete with the quality of our movie and to do a movie like this, they better be prepared to put in a lot of time, because that's what it took. A lot of time and a lot of effort and dedication.
I mean, this film was fine art. There's no denying that. what we did was fine art, and I'm very proud of it. I will be to my dying day.
Through this whole thing, it's been a lot of fun. I wouldn't change it for anything.
It was a good experience, and I learned a lot through it.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. Probably the best experience I've had, and some of the funnest times for sure. I don't know, I wouldn't give it up for anything.